Ram fans, welcome back to a Rams Live exclusive. I'm Ruby Kaiser, joined by Brian Roth. We have a very special episode for you today with the head coach of Colorado State, Jim Mora, joining us. But first, let's welcome Colorado State Athletic Director John Weber to get into what went into hiring the 25th head coach of Colorado State football. John, you kept this away from all the Twitter sharks. I don't know how you did it. How did you keep everything under wraps for so long?
We worked really hard to make sure that we ran a very professional process, and we worked with a small team of people, and that team did a great job of being really professional throughout that entire process, and we all worked together really well. So proud of the way that it ran, for sure.
At what point did you realize that Mora was going to be our guy?
That's an interesting question. We talked to him multiple times throughout this process, and here's what I'll say to that. From the very first interaction, we knew that there was a potential match there, and he was excited to talk to us. We were excited to talk to him, and the more that we talked, over the course of a few weeks, it became pretty evident that he would do a phenomenal job here at CSU, and we're certainly proud to have him.
Well, John, congratulations. I mean, look, this is a very attractive job. I'm curious if you could share with us the amount of interest and the level of interest that you had from coaching candidates across the country.
Yeah, we had a lot of interest. We ran a 6-week process, so during that time frame, we were able to talk to a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds, sitting head coaches to coordinators to NFL folks. We really had a great opportunity to make sure that we found the right person for this process, and partnering with Turnkey on that process. We put people into the process, they put people into the process, people self-identified themselves. So it was a really, really well done search.
John, this was your first head football coach hire as athletic director. What specific qualities were you looking for, and how did Mora fulfill those?
Yeah, so when we started this process, I talked about the need to have someone that would be collaborative in nature in terms of working with all of us to make sure that we were successful within our football program. But what I didn't really talk about was the need for us to have a program builder. And the background that Coach Mora has, throughout the NFL, throughout the NCAA, at all levels, and a lot of very different positions, it was pretty clear that his background, his expertise, is going to be a tremendous asset to us here at CSU.
You mentioned the strong interest in this job, and of course, why wouldn't there be? But there is, because of the commitment that this university and the athletic department has to football. What can you say about that commitment, and what does it say to the fan base here in Ram Country?
Yeah, and that was one of the things that came out, as we're having that conversation. The commitment that starts in our president's office, that goes through our athletic department. We all very much understand what a strong football program can do for our university and do for our community, and we're excited to have a leader in here that shares that vision and is excited to deliver on the field. As we play on Saturdays in the fall.
Mora was able to take an independent program, a struggling program, and turn it into a winning program, but also generate fan excitement at UConn. How important is that for CSU?
Well, it's really important, and the support that we've gotten from Ram Country over the last couple of years. We've had 6 of the top 10 crowds in Colorado State football history have happened over the course of the last 2 seasons, and that was one of the things that really drew an interest from Coach Mora. Seeing the fan support, seeing the on-campus stadium, the opportunity for him to office in the stadium is all unique to him in terms of what his background has been. So, he's excited. We're excited for the future of CSU football.
John, final thought for me. Tell us about the conversations that you had with Coach Mora about, obviously, your commitment, but what progress looks like. Because I know it's a very important time in college athletics, college football, the move to the Pac-12, obviously imminent, coming up here this summer. What does progress look like for Colorado State?
Well, it starts with alignment. So, from our president's office, into our athletic department, through our football program, we're all aligned for being able to compete for championships, win championships, and compete in the college football playoff. We're not shy about that goal, and neither is Coach. And we're really excited to get to work on that vision, and we'll see how that comes to fruition here much sooner than later.
John, what were some non-negotiables on your end, but also on Coach Mora's end when accepting this position?
Yeah, I would say, I'll go back to to the word that we just used, which is collaboration, partnership, alignment. All of those are non-negotiable for both of us, because it will not work without those 3 things being in place. We found a coach that is ready to do that, and we certainly are as a university and a department as well.
John, thank you so much for joining Rams Live. I know we're all so excited to welcome Coach Mora to Ram Country. Speaking of, I think it's time for him to be on the show. Ram fans, welcome to a Rams Live exclusive. I'm Ruby Kaiser, joined by Brian Roth. We have new Colorado State head football coach here, Jim Mora. The Jim Mora news broke on Wednesday, igniting the hopes of Ram fans everywhere. Coach Mora coming off of back-to-back 9-win seasons at UConn, something unprecedented for the Huskies. He's got decades of NFL and college coaching experience under his belt and a rich family legacy in the Pac-12. So we have a veteran of the conference leading us into this new era of CSU football. I think the question most people are wondering, you did so well at UConn, so why Colorado State?
Why Colorado State? Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. Number one, I think the alignment between President Parsons and John Weber and Scott Sidwell is perfect. And they demonstrated to me that, they want to be successful in football. And that's really important to me. I want to have a chance to compete at the highest level with the best against the best for a championship. And I think there's a path to do that here. It's exciting to me to, be back in the Pac-12, which is where I spent most of my playing days and my youth with my dad. Coached at UCLA when they were still in the Pac-12, played at Washington. So that was exciting for me. And then I love this area of the country. I grew up out west. I spent time as a kid in Boulder, have connections to Colorado State. And this is a community I'm really excited about being a member of, and closer to family. But most important, it was the people that I got to meet and that my wife got to meet that convinced us that this was the right place and the right time for us to be here.
Jim, congratulations, and give me your thoughts on seeing Fort Collins, seeing the facilities, and the commitment that this university has put into the sport of football.
Well, I came in late last night. It was awesome. The snow was coming down, so it was just magical. President Parsons was there, as well as John and Scott and many, many others. Brought us right over here to the football facility, and I was blown away. The stadium is amazing. I mean, it's gorgeous, and I know President Parsons was a big part of designing this, and I told her last night when I saw her after touring, I said, well, you nailed it, From the offices to the facilities for the players to the recovery, there's nothing missing. So there's everything that player needs here to have success and for us to have success as a football program. I haven't spent a ton of time in Fort Collins, but I've spent a ton of time in Colorado. My nephew went to school here, and he's filled me in on everything. My wife was here Monday, and she said this is an amazing place, and I know the reputation, and I trust the people that have been here. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be here.
You had a mantra that you mentioned in one of your press conferences called sweeping the corners. Yeah. I want to hear about that, and is that something that you're going to bring to Colorado State? Yeah,
it's really about preparation and detail, attention to detail. When you were a kid, and your mom said, hey, go sweep the kitchen floor. As kids, you tried to hide the dirt in the corners, right? Well, it's just kind of an indicator that we're not going to sweep the dirt into the corner. We're going to sweep the dirt out of the corner, make sure that we complete the task. That we're fully prepared when we take the field, and it's just a little reminder to make sure that we pay attention to the details at all times.
Ruby had mentioned your experience, obviously NFL experience. You coached at UCLA before college football kind of got turned on its head, and you're coming from UConn where you've dealt with the transfer portal, you've dealt with NIL. How is that experience evolving with college football as it has evolved? How can that help you build Colorado State into a winner?
Well, I think my NFL experience has been a real advantage to me in this era of college football. I liken the portal to free agency. I liken recruiting to the college draft. I liken revenue share to, the salary cap and how you distribute your money. So it's something I'm very comfortable with. I know that there's a lot of coaches that aren't excited about the direction it's going. It's inevitable that it's happening, and I'm grateful that I have the experience to manage it. So it's nothing new for me. I understand it. I think the most important thing to do is embrace it, and I embrace it. And yeah, there's challenges, but there's also opportunities. And so it's all about maximizing the opportunities.
Your dad's in his 90s, but he was a great football coach. Is he somebody that you lean on and you talk to often still? Are you a little duo, or do you kind of separate yourself from that?
Oh no, I talk to my dad daily. it usually takes a turn towards football. You know, it might start at personal, but it usually quickly turns towards football. You know, we were on the phone probably 4 times the other day during the Colorado State Air Force game. You know, he's evaluating as it goes. During the season, it's very typical that I'll get a call after the game, you know, win or lose. It's like, hey, proud of the way you guys played. And, you know, keep fighting if we lose, or hey, great win. And then usually by Monday, after he's had a chance to go back and look at the game and really study it, then the pointed questions come. You know, hey, I don't think we tackled very well, or hey, why are we doing this? Or, you know, hey, your effort needs to be better, or hey, what do you think about that? He's kind of got a little bit more gentle as he's gone, but I still understand what the question means when he asks it. It means, hey, I need to be better in that area. So for me, it's an amazing resource because it's someone that loves me unconditionally, you know, and they're not judging me. They're just giving me an accurate assessment of what he sees as a football coach who won 185 games, you know, and it's pretty legendary.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of mentors, your dad being probably the biggest, but you've had so much experience, so much interaction with coaches. I know that's all formed the coach that you are today. And if Ram fans were to ask you, what kind of coach is Jim Mora, what would your answer be?
Well, I like to think that I'm a pretty good coach that's still learning how to be a great coach. I like to say that at this point in my career, I finally feel like I know what I'm doing, but I still have a lot to learn. I would say that I'm a coach that puts everything he has into the players and the people around him. My ego is connected to the success of the men I coach and the people that I work with, and I want to see them succeed. I've been able to have great experiences in my football life. Football's given me so much, really everything. Since the day I was born, my life's been football. And I've been able to experience great things, and now it's about returning the favors, you know, to giving to people that are trying to ascend, you know, given my experience. You said I've been around a lot of the best ever, and I learned a lot from all of them, and it's just about serving those around you, you know, and I know that sometimes sounds cliche, but that's what brings me the sense of fulfillment in doing this job. And winning.
You speak so highly of your staff and your players. What is it going to take to build that staff at Colorado State?
Well, you want to bring in the right people, good men, good women, good people that share your vision for the program but can add to that vision. You want to bring in people that are really good for our players, that are good mentors, role models, excellent teachers, trustworthy. You want to bring in people that you can depend on as the head coach, that are going to carry your message out to the players and the community, that are going to represent this school at the highest level in everything that they do. You know, I want people that connect not only with our players, but with this campus, with this community, that are motivated to be the best they can be every day. You know, I want to be around people that are achievers, that every day set out to achieve something special, not just, you know, people that are there to be there. You know, I want to be around people that want to achieve and that are selfless and that buy into the greater vision, and how they say every day, how can I add to what we want to do to be who we want to be? What can I give to these players in this program?
Final thought for me, I imagine you look at your to-do list, and it's a long list right now. You got a bunch of things coming up. You just met with the team here today. You have National Signing Day for the high school kids coming up on Wednesday. Transfer portal opening, as Ruby mentioned, you're building a coaching staff. Give us an idea of what the next 30 days is going to be like.
It's going to be a whirlwind. It's going to be exciting and exhilarating. I can't wait to get back here on Wednesday and really lean into it, because I know there's a lot of people around here that are so supportive of what we're trying to do, and we're going to join together and we're going to tackle each goal, each obstacle that comes our way to the best of our ability, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great, you know, and do all we can every day to help this place elevate.
Coach, one of my favorite quotes from you that I saw is, you're a great competitor, and you said great competitors never reach the ceiling. They just keep pushing the ceiling higher and higher. How do you intend to push the ceiling higher at Colorado State?
You don't set limitations, you know, and you set standards, and then when you reach that standard, you say, okay, great, we're here now. I just use the word elevate. We got to continue to elevate, We're at 5,000 feet, all right? We got to get higher, okay? And we're going to really enjoy the process of it, the challenge. You know, I'm a guy, I like to say I want to choose the challenge. You know, if there's an easy way and a challenging way, I want to go the challenging way. And I want to build that into this football team, you know, and that's about pushing the standard every single day. How can we be better today than we were yesterday in a healthy and positive way, not in a grinding, you know, way that's going to wear people out, but let's do it with enthusiasm, right? Let's, you know, I would say, you know, my style of coaching is I'm very, very demanding, but in an encouraging way. I'm going to demand so much of these players and the staff, but they're going to get support that matches the demands and encouragement that matches the demands.
Thank you so much for joining Rams Live, Coach. We really appreciate it, and I know that we're all really excited to have you a part of the Ramley. Stay tuned and follow at Colorado State Rams Live for my exclusive one-on-one with Jim Mora and lots more Coach Jim Mora content to come. Welcome back to Rams Live. I'm Ruby Kaiser with new head coach Jim Mora. Thank you so much for joining this Rams Live exclusive, Jim.
My pleasure. Great to be here.
We wanted to get something out of the way to start. You're not a junior. Does it bother you when people call you a junior? We got to clear that up.
Okay, no, I'm not a junior, and no, it doesn't bother me when people call me that because I think it's a compliment to my dad. But it bothers my dad a little bit because we have different middle names. But really, we're kind of over that whole thing. So no, whatever anyone calls me, that's fine.
You guys flew in and it was snowing when you landed. You came straight to Canvas Stadium. What was your impression of Colorado State off the bat, but also your family that got to be here?
Well, from the looks on their faces, they related. You know, smiles, excitement, giddiness. For me, just walking into this stadium and seeing how beautiful it was and the environment that's been created was special. The best part was the people. You know, getting off the plane and having President Parsons there and John Weber and his wife and President Parsons' husband and Scott and Samantha Sidwell, who I've known for a long time, and then all the support people. It just made us feel so welcome. And that hasn't changed in the 12 hours we've been here. You know, everything from going to the hotel and, you know, having some Colorado State gear. It's just been really incredible.
You mentioned that your wife, Kathy, got to come out earlier. What was her report back when she got to scope it out herself?
She said, we're going to love it there. She said, we're taking this job and we're going to love it there. It's a great community. You know, she echoed what I said, the people. She said the people are different there. They're so nice. They're so special. It's a very healthy environment. You know, we're outdoorsy people. We want to be out in the sun, being active. She's, you know, already told me that we're buying a paddleboard so that she can paddleboard, you know, on the reservoir. And it fits our lifestyle to be here. So she was elated.
And Kathy has a little business making baby blankets. Has she started on like a Cam the Ram blanket yet? Because I know the Ram fans are going to want to support that.
Yeah, last night she held up fabric she'd already bought. So she's already started. Yeah, she's already started. And I think the first project is going to be for Scott Sidwell's grandchild, you know. But yeah, she makes baby blankets and they're darling. And she gives them to players and staff. And I don't know that she sold many, but I know we've got hundreds of them at home, and they're all handmade with love and care. And she's a real giver. She loves to give. She's sensitive, emotional. She's a mom. She's awesome. She's motivated to be great every day. But she just pours herself into everything that she does.
We're so excited to have her, and I might have to get my hands on a little baby blanket too. It sounds so cute. You lived in Boulder when you were in elementary and middle school with your dad coaching at CSU. I know that was a while ago, but do you have any Colorado memories from that time?
Listen, I still know my address. 1545 Judson Drive, Boulder, Colorado, 30303.
Someone's going to show up there now.
I know, that's the problem. But I have great memories of Colorado. It was, you know, part of my formative years. You know, I hated to leave here. Quite frankly, I tried for many, many years to get back here. I was being recruited by Colorado out of high school, and I hurt my knee my senior year, and they pulled my scholarship offer, which was pretty devastating, but I ended up at the University of Washington, which was a blessing. I just love this part of the country. I love the people. I love the way they attack life and embrace the outdoors. And you know, my memories from Colorado were all very positive. You know, we used to build a ski ramp from the Barton's house, Karen and Click Barton, who lived right behind us, and we would build a ramp or build a ski run down from their house through the middle of our yard. Larry and Larry Kennan, who used to coach at Colorado, was our neighbor, and we would ski down and then walk back up and ski down and walk back up and ski down. My mom made an ice rink in our backyard, you know, every winter. So I have a lot of great memories of growing up in Boulder.
So we're going to go over to your house with our skis and our ice skates, and you'll have that all set up for us?
No, we're going to go right up there to those mountains. That's where we're going to go.
You spent some time on the air in between coaching jobs. So I wanted to ask, do you have any tips for me so far? How did you enjoy your time on the air?
Oh, you're really good. I would have asked you for tips. Oh, no. Yeah, but I spent a year with NFL on Fox, working with Dick Stockton as an analyst, which was really fun for me. And then I spent 3 or 4 years at ESPN doing games and an analyst in the studio. So I've sat on both sides. I've been the guy that gets critiqued and the guy that was asked to critique, which I was never very comfortable doing. But having been a coach, you know, it was hard for me to be critical of other coaches, so I probably wasn't very good at it.
What encouraged you to go back to coaching after your stint broadcasting?
You know, I enjoyed reporting on the action, but I loved being in the action. You know, I wanted to compete. I'll never forget the time that after a game we were going to the airport, and Dick Stockton, he would have a gin and tonic after every game, and he was we were in the car and he's jiggling around. He said, "Jimmy," he says, "the great thing about this gig is you never lose." And I said, "Dick, you never win either," you know, and I want to be a part of the action. And I spent the 4 years away from football because I needed to be there for my youngest son, Trey, in a transition part in his life, and it was really important to me that he knew that his dad was committed to him and in his growth and development. And when he went to college, I took him to CSU and dropped him off. And you know, I had this vision that it was going to be a 2-day goodbye, and he was going to cry and everything. I plopped his bag down on the bed, and he looked at me and said, "All right, Dad, see ya." I was like, wow. But my kids encouraged me to get back into football. They said, "Dad, that's what you do. That's who you are. You know, you're a football coach, and we're proud of you, and we want you to do what you love." And so that's what brought me back to it.
I love to hear that. And you mentioned you're excited to be back in the Pac-12 conference.
Yeah.
What kind of splash do you want to make off the bat?
Well, I just want to be the best we can be every day. You know, I'm a 1-0 type of guy. Like, I want to win the first game. And I know we play Wyoming in the Border War the first game. So we're going to do everything we can between today and kickoff on that day. I believe it's September 5th or 6th, to make sure we're ready to play a great game that day. And then after we do that, then we'll get ready for the next one. And that's how we break it down. Do we have long-term goals? Yeah. But I don't know that those are things that you necessarily need to put out on the air. I'll say this: we will put no limitations on who we can become. And we're going to work every day to become the best we can be.
What kind of person do you look for when you're recruiting kids, and are you tapping into any in-state talent here in Colorado?
We want to put a fence around the state. We want every good high school football player to really want to come and be a Colorado State Ram. That's the goal, you know, because to have the bond between the state, the great players in the state and this university, and be able to enhance it every year is just going to make this place more powerful. We want kids that love this state and this university to play for us. The characteristics I'm looking for is, number one, I want high character individuals, you know, off the field and on the field. I want kids that are young men that love to play football, that they have to play football. You know, it's in their DNA to play football. I want young men that are accountable. I want young men that are disciplined. I want young men that are have toughness. When I say toughness, I'm not necessarily talking about physical toughness, but mental toughness, emotional toughness. This is a hard thing to do. It's hard to be a D1 athlete. You know, it's really hard. So, you know, and I want people that pour themselves into their team, that have a team ego. You know, the team ego has to override the individual ego. And you have to have an ego to play this sport because it's demanding. You better believe you're the very best. But that individual ego has to be subservient to the ego of the team, what we're trying to accomplish together. So, you know, I've got a lot. I could keep going, but let's just stop right there.
I heard you may have had a conversation with your former roommate, Hugh Millen, whose son played at Colorado State for some time. What was his words of wisdom to you?
Take it. Take it and go. There's a commitment level there. There's resources. There's facilities. There's people. it's a part of the country you love. Take the job and go be great. You know, Hugh's someone that's been in my life since we were roommates at University of Washington. Someone I trust, who spoke at my wedding. You know, Clay had a good experience here. You know, college football's changed a lot. You know, there's a lot of movement now, so he didn't end up here staying here. But Hugh had nothing but great things to say about this program and this city, and so that meant a lot to me because he's someone I trust.
Thank you so much, Coach, for joining Rams Live. Make sure to follow at CSU Rams Live for more Coach Jim Mora content to come.